Tom Merrill worked in a little workshop in Solly Street. He'd started life as a pen and pocket plate forger around the time of the First War, and afterwards he couldn't get a job when the slump came. But by the time 1939 came round, he was in demand again, making surgical instruments. He was producing a pocket blade for us in order to show us the process as it used to go. Here you see a knife blade being formed on the end of a bar of steel. And before your very eyes, there it is, it's grown out of that piece of steel, perfect in shape and form. He cuts it off, and then he forms the tang end of this blade. That is the part that's going to fit into the handle. And before machines came to be forging blades in Sheffield, this was the traditional way that blades were always formed. You'll find that when he's generally finished forging, he lets the hammer just bounce on the anvil face. He doesn't sort of just put it down, he keeps it in his hand most of the time. Breaks it off from the piece of steel to start to form the tang again. Tom was a very good raconteur. He could tell a good tale. Coke was used for heating up the steel. And he had a pair of hand bellows, so they were hand blown. Here again we see how wonderfully each blow counts on the blade that is being formed. If you looked at the section of the steel where the blade is, you would see that it was wedge-shaped, broad on the back and thin on the cutting edge, so that the grinder who has to follow the forger has a minimum amount of work to do. There were literally hundreds of different shapes and sizes of penknife blades and pocket knife blades. And if somebody wanted just 2 or 3 dozen making, then it was, when there were plenty of men about, it was far easier to have them do it than produce mechanical tools to make the blades. Here we see the hardening of a pocket knife blade. In 1992, I think there is only one man left in Sheffield who is capable of forging blades of this sort. He's in actual fact a surgical instrument forger. Now Tom is producing a surgeon's scalpel. Very similar initially to a penknife blade, because its shape at the business end is very, very similar indeed. But the handle is forged integral with the blade, and I suppose it's around 6 or 7 inches long in total. And here we see him finally smithing the blade, and it will be cut off shortly. Now he's going to cut it, break it off, and the other end goes in the fire. Now then, the back end of the handle is made into a fishtail. The idea is that when the surgeon has it in his hand, and his hands are covered in blood, very slippery, he can feel whether the knife is firm in his hand, because he can feel the resistance of the tail. And here is shown the range of blades that were being formed.